Yeah, Monday morning again here in the UK. Got nobody watching at the moment. Obviously, it's probably taking a while to show up. It does say we've got the two watching. Hiya, Ian. Hiya, Gaming Central. It does say we've got the two watching. Hiya, Ian. So right, I've just turned volume down on that. See, this is lagging a little bit on the StreamYard, so that's why I put the phone on, because the comments on here show up a little later than what they do actually on the YouTube. So yeah, as the title suggests, we've had a fantastic weekend away. We've enjoyed it. We've been out and about. It's all right, this, and I think I need to move that across a little bit. So yeah, some, as I say, using this, because I did look to see if I could still use Google Hangouts, go live via Google Hangouts, but it didn't give you the option to go live via Hangouts. So whether it stopped it for that purpose or not, I don't know. So yeah. Mr. P has gone out droning. So hello to the three watching. Come in and say hello. Hope you had a good weekend, Ian. It looked like you were quite busy in your DJ location on Sunday. So yeah, I mean, we got back about, I think it was about 2:30 yesterday. Yeah, it's always droning on. Yeah, we got back here about, I think it was about 2:30, something like that, yesterday. We didn't want to set off too early for obvious reasons. But Keith was suffering, but Chris not so much. And same as I said to Chris, you're a lot younger than what Keith is, so it's probably going to hit him a little bit more than it would you. I mean, he got up, he just, normally he's got a stinking hangover, but it just, he were okay. But Keith weren't. Keith was struggling a little bit yesterday. So, same as I say, it were about, I think it was about 1 o'clock when we set off, something like that, or just after 1 o'clock. So we didn't do bad time wise. So yeah, we made quite good timing actually. So are you gonna blood howl? I mean, obviously they sort of both had the fair share of the alcohol, but same as I said to Chris, I mean, you're a lot younger than he is, and it'd probably take him a bit longer to recover than you. I'm doing okay. We've just got to. Oh, okie dokie. And some, as I say, you'll have to let me know when you get back. And so yeah, But I did message him this morning to see how he were feeling, and he says, yeah, he's fine. So, you know, all things considered, we've had a brilliant weekend away. You know, it's gave me time to recharge my batteries a little bit. Because I've not been feeling very well, so for about a month or so. But you know, it was nice to, you know, relax, get out and about, get out. I have actually caught sun, and I'm like, when I never thought to put any sunscreen or anything in it. Hiya, Isabella, how are you? I'm fine. You know, we've just got back from a weekend away. Unfortunately, I caught the sun on my face. But it was sunny, but there were like a slight breeze, and I always catch the sun a little bit more when there's like a breeze in the air. So, yeah, so I've sort of caught the sun on my chest and also on my arm a little bit. So, yeah, you know, we've had a brilliant weekend away. We went Friday morning and came back yesterday afternoon. So yeah, you know, it's you know, it's you know, it's just what I needed, if you know what I mean. Normally we've been on holiday by now, but son's been doing his exams and, you know, doing his application for college and everything. So it's you know, it's a case of you know, we've not really had a chance to go anywhere. So we decided, well, we're going to go away for the weekend. So yeah, you know, we said sort of next time we go, you know, because we went to Cleethorpes in the UK, that we were going to go for a bit longer. So, I mean, Eagle VP did a live stream on Saturday night, and Pixie did a live stream on Saturday night, and yeah, really enjoyed it. You know, I enjoyed going out and about because for the last month or so we've been poorly. I've been stuck about in the house. So, you know, it was nice to get out and, you know, sort of, oh, I didn't know that actually. Oh, the last time in the air when and then it's retired, going to be a bit sad. Yeah, I can, you know, I can imagine that. I mean, but at the end of the day, I mean, it's like everything else. Aeroplanes has got like a shelf life, if you know what I mean. And, you know, there's always new things coming out. And obviously, you know, it's probably, I don't know, a certain age, you know, a certain age. And, you know, it's obviously going to be replaced with something better. Hiya, Tony, how are you? Oh, okie dokie then, Tony. So, Qantas and British Airways are retiring their 747s for newer aircraft. Yeah, yeah. Ian sort of just popped out, Tony, he's just got to go to the shop, which is just down the road. Well, that's it. Same as I say, it is sad to, it is always sad to see, you know, the old, you know, the old ones going. But I mean, it's like the Concorde. I mean, they've sort of discontinued that now, haven't they? But I thought the Concorde were a brilliant aeroplane. So, but there again, same as I said, it, you know, hiya, Jelly Duck, how are you? Nice to see you in here. So yeah, you know, I mean, it's like everything else that, you know, cars like come to an end of an era, and it's only the same with planes. And you know, I mean, like, I mean, same as we were saying, this is the thing, on his way back from his weekend away, I don't know whether a classic car show or something, somewhere, but there were Ford Mustangs on the road. There were, you know, there were old trucks and all sorts, sort of, as we were. So I think they were sort of travelling to a car show of some sort. But Chris was sort of sat there with his tongue out because he loves the Ford Mustangs. So you know, you know, it's he loves the classic cars, you know, especially the Ford Mustangs. But they were like two in convoy with each other, and then we got a bit further down the road, and we saw one of these like flatbed truck type of thing. You know, they were all like American makes, but we're seeing quite a few actually. So I'm wondering if there were like a classic car show somewhere, you know. But yeah, Chris is in his element when he, you know, when he sees the classic cars. He absolutely loves them. And obviously, you know, with them being American cars and everything, they're all left-hand drive as well. So yeah, you know, we're, you know, I mean, I don't know whether anybody's the same or not, but you know, some of the classic cars are absolutely outstanding, you know, as in looks wise and everything else. Same as I say, Chris is like in awe of them, you know, and he says what I wouldn't give to drive one of them, and you know, so yeah, same as I say, I mean, it's like everything else. I mean, you've sort of got to have a passion for these things. I mean, obviously the people that were driving the cars have got a passion for, you know, the old classic cars, you know what I mean? It's just having the money to sort of follow that passion, isn't it, really? So yeah, you know, I mean, that, you know, I just thought I'd share that little snippet with you as regards, you know, the cars that we saw. And you know, another thing that Pixie likes is you know, aircraft, the old aircrafts and everything. We do keep saying we're going to go to an aviation museum, and because it you know, that's right up his street. I'd love to go and see the old planes, you know, the Spitfire and what have you. So so how is everybody today? Same as I say, I feel refreshed. I feel better than I have in a long time. You know, it's amazing what that, you know, a few days break away does for you. You know what I mean? You know, I'd advise everybody, you know, if you're feeling a bit unwell, and like me, I've been unwell for about a month or so, and I just rather than sort of, I was going a bit stir crazy, sat, you know, staring at four walls and not getting out, and You know, hi Ian, how are you? I guess you're at work then, Ian. And how did you enjoy your holiday? I hope you've come back with recharged batteries. Same as I say, we've been away for the weekend, and it's amazing how refreshed I feel. You know, hi Carla, how are you? You know, I feel a lot more refreshed. I feel a lot more like I've, you know, essentially like I've recharged me. Hiya, Salty, how are you? Like I've recharged my batteries. You know what I mean? After having spent like a month not going out anywhere, only to the hospital or the doctors, you know, it was nice to get out in the sea air and a bit of sun on my face, and, you know, yeah, yeah. You know, I mean, Salty were in on the live stream on, I think, Pixie's channel. You know, they had a hell of a time on Saturday night, you know, and I was just saying, Salty, Keith was suffering more than what Chris were. You know, Chris, you know, normally gets up with stinking hangover, but he were all right. He just felt a bit, you know, how can I put it, a bit sort of lightheaded and whatever, but, you know, we were fine. And it were a case of when, as soon as he's had it, the pillar, it that were it, were in the land of Nod. Yeah, yeah. But same as we said, Salty, the thing is, everybody knows that Chris, the last time he was that bad was when last time we were at Keith's. You know what I mean? And he keeps saying, Keith, you're a bad influence on me. You know, he says, I only get in that state, he says, when I come here. You know, but same as we've said, it you know, it weren't just my weekend away, it were Callum's, and it were Chris's as well. You know, and if you can't sort of blow a bit of steam off every now and again, or you know, you can't, you know, it all adds to the enjoyment of the weekend, if you know what I mean. Well, not enjoyment, because you regret it the next day. But yeah, well, same as I say, I mean, Chris likes the occasional can of beer at home, but, you know, not to that extent that they were on Saturday night. Let's just put it that way. And he says, I can't ever remember. He says, in fact, he says, I think the last time I was that drunk is when we came here last time, Keith. No, I was the sober one. Well, I took some like Smirnoff Ice with me, and there's only 4 in a pack, and I gave Callum 2. So me and Callum only had 2 Smirnoff Ices each. So, you know, no, I weren't. So, no, I was the sober one. I can't drink as much like I used to be able to when I was younger. If you get what I mean, I have a drink occasionally, but it's sort of few and far between. In fact, actually, like, you know, like we go into the hospital, how many units of alcohol do you drink a week? And I went, what's alcohol? You know what I mean? I says, I very rarely drink it. It's only like occasionally. Yeah. Hiya, Caesar, how are you? So yeah, I mean, Chris is actually not here at the moment. He's gone droning. So we got back here about 2:30 p.m. yesterday afternoon, and I think it were about 5 o'clock. It went like, you know, it went really dark. And I says to Chris, I says, I'm sure I can hear thunder in the distance. So next minute we looks outside, it's gone awfully dark, and then, you know, heavens opened up and it was thundering and lightning. So, but it were only like a short storm. You know, but yeah, I mean, I think as well, with it being nice weather as well over the weekend, I think that sort of made it all the more enjoyable, because you sort of haven't been able, you know, you hadn't had to stop in or, you know, or take your brolly or everything with you. It was nice to get out and know that it was lovely, lovely weather while we were there. So, well, you see, this is it, Salty, same as I said. The aim of us going away is, obviously I've not been well for about a month or so. I was going a little bit stir crazy, being stuck indoors all the time, and, you know, same four walls. And Chris says, well, why don't we go away for a weekend? So, you know, so that's what we did. We just went away for a few days, just to, same as we said, recharge the batteries a little bit. But and it were good that sort of it's only just over an hour away. You know what I mean? You know, we didn't have to sort of travel 4 or 5 hours to get to its destination. And you know, when we were there at the seaside, you know, and it were nice to get out in the sea air, and, you know, I think it's done me the world of good. Same as I say, this is the best I've felt in about a month. You know what I mean? I've not sort of been felt this good in you know, in, hi Alex, how are you? So yeah, you know, I mean, and Chris, yeah, same as I say, I feel refreshed. Chris posted a video of like 2 flights. That was Chris and Keith yesterday. Keith more so than what Chris were, Alex. You know, they had a right session on Saturday night. They both did live streams. It were like a drunken live stream again. I don't think they could have managed 2 days on trot, Alex. You know, Saturday night were enough. I mean, Salty was in the chat, and he'll tell you they were absolutely rat-eyed, if you know what I mean. But we had a good laugh, and everybody that came in the chat, you know, saying, "Oh, this is brilliant," you know what I mean. And yet again, I was having to translate because none of them could see the chat very good, and you know, we had a right, you know. Oh, it's just remnants of an hangover, is it? Well, Keith had said to me, he says, well, text me when you get back home, let me know you've got back all right. So I did. And he'd said to me, I'll ring you on Hangouts a bit later on. But then he messaged me and he says, I'm feeling a little bit ill. He says, I'll ring you tomorrow. So I says, yeah, that's fine, you know. So you know, but Chris was right as rain yesterday evening. You know, I mean, they were on there was on the beers, and then they were on the whiskey. So you know, you felt well. You see, this is the thing, Alex, because I were laughing at Chris. We're in Keith's flat, but we were in one of the complex's guest rooms, and Chris were fine until he went out into the fresh air. And I walked behind him, sort of going back to the guest room, and he were all over. He were weaving in and out like something not right. And I think, same as I says, I think as soon as the fresh air hit him, that were it. You know, it sort of suddenly hit him, and oh, you've been out. Well, you know, you're only young, aren't you, Alex? I mean, when you get to Chris's and Keith's age, you have to slow down a little bit. But yeah, we had a fantastic time while we've been away. You know, and Chris has said the same to Callum. You know, he says, you know, when you start going out drinking and whatever, he says, because Callum was actually asking his dad. Yeah, he were actually asking his dad. He says, "Well, what does an hangover feel like?" Chris says, "Well, you'll know once you get one." He says, "You know, your head's pounding, and you know, sometimes you're sick, and this, that, and other." He says all people react differently, you know, to alcohol. You know, some people, you know, they feel as sick as a dog, and you know, get up with a pounding head, and this, that, and the other. Yet some people can sort of be pie-eyed the night before, have a good night's sleep, and then get up the next morning and be as bright as a daisy. You know what I mean? Oh, you don't get the headache, do you? Oh, we had 10 pints of Guinness. But you see, this is the thing. I mean, when you get to my age, you know, is it worth drinking all that amount to feel as bad as, you know, with an hangover, etc., the next morning? So that's sort of why, yeah, I do drink occasionally, but I don't, you know. Well, they were trying to work out, Alex, how many they'd had on Saturday night. We see Chris had bought some beer, but he'd also bought, well, when we went shopping, it were a litre bottle of whiskey. So between them, they've drunk over half a litre a bottle of whiskey. Plus, Chris had bought some beers, so there was on the beers, and Chris couldn't remember whether he'd had 2 or 3 beers. So some, because I can't remember how many. But you know, same as we've said, you know, Keith drinks alcohol, but only in moderation. Chris drinks alcohol, but only in moderation. But same as we said, we were away for the weekend, and the last time Chris got that, you know, that drunk was when we were at Keith's last, which is like, I don't know, 6-7 months ago. I can't remember how long ago it is. Same as I said, Salty, Chris likes occasional beer in ours, but it'll probably be 2 or 3. But same as I say, we're away, you know, we were visiting Keith, and same as we said, if you can't have a blowout, you know, once in a while, it's same as I say, I think the last time we went to Keith's, it was about 6 months ago, something like that. I know it was before Christmas anyway, so, you know, it might even be longer. And that was the last time he got that drunk, well, last time we went to see Keith. So, you know, it's a case of, how can I put it? I mean, my philosophy is, if you work hard, you play hard. You know, as regards drinking, you know, whatever. I mean, it's like when I first met Chris, I could, you know, if we went out, I could easily down 10 pint and still be sober. You can ask Chris. Well, he can't because he's not here. But, you know, you know, I could easily put 10 pint away and not think anything about it and still sort of be relatively sober, if you know what I mean. And Chris sort of used to say to me, I don't know where you put it all. You know what I mean? But I couldn't do that nowadays. What you doing live stream? Just talking about the alcohol. Salty's saying I met you at Alcoholics Anonymous. I was just saying, sweetheart, that when we first met, I could put 10 pints away easy. But I mean, we've been together sort of 19 years this year, so it just hey. Mr. Peace just super chatted me. Just saying, sweetheart, like when we, same as I say, I mean, we've been together 19 years, but when we first met, I could drink 10 pints easy. Yeah. Okay then, Alex, thank you for joining us, and I appreciate you coming in. But yeah, you know, I mean, obviously, I'm sort of 19 years older and 19 years wiser, if you know what I mean. But it's such a good drink, like a fish. Well, yeah, and finishes off as well, because he'd be sort of lagging behind and saying, oh, I've had enough, I can't finish this on. So I used to drink my drink and finish his off as well. And be sober-ish. So yeah, you know, but, you know, same as we say, as we get older, we tend to not be able to handle as alcohol as well as we as we used to. So, and oh dear, it don't seem too bad here. You know, yeah, it's a little windy, but same as you said it before you went out, it's not something. It's not. You know, you thought the Mavic could handle it, but it's not all that windy here. But I suppose you're out in the open, and it's. Well, what you'll have to do if you can't fly, Mr. P, you'll have to come back and hope the wind dies down a bit and go out a bit later. Oh, okay then. I'll see you in a bit. So, yeah, same as I say, enough talking about the alcohol. So yeah. So do you just go out the once a week, Salty, then, or do you know, same as I say, I mean, Chris tends to have a few cans in the arse occasionally if we've got the money. So yeah, you know. but we are talking about going a bit later on in the year. You know what I mean? Obviously, with it being the summertime, and you know, it were relatively busy, obviously in Cleethorpes. So same as we said, I mean, we might go a bit later in the year, and you know, hopefully it not be so busy. So yes, we did have fish and chips while we were there. You can't go to Cleethorpes or Grimsby without having fish and chips. So we had some of them Friday night. Mr. P put a vlog up. We had a carvery on Saturday, and it was I'd recommend it to anyone. If you're going to Cleethorpes, go to the Trawlerman in Cleethorpes. Absolutely outstanding. And it were quite cheap as well, because it was 2 for £10. So so it were quite, you know, quite cheap as well. So we were quite, you know, quite impressed with that. I mean, I will say one thing though. Aerial Views and Histories, Steve, you can like have a regular size, which we had, and then you can have like you can like upgrade it to a large. I'm not kidding you. Steve's plate were like a dustbin lid, and he'd got it piled high, and I just sat there. So you know, I got my mouth open, and I nearly fell off my seat when I saw the amount of food that he'd got on his plate, and I went, "You'll never eat that in a month of Sundays." And he nearly polished it off over a few, you know, potatoes, and I were gobsmacked. And I says, "You must have all the legs. That's the only thing I can say about it." Putting all that lot away. I mean, I only like had the regular size plate, but obviously we're having the weight loss surgery. You know, you can't pile it up like that. And I left some of mine. You know, and I sort of sat there, you know, in awe, looking at his plate. Same as I say, it was like a dustbin lid, and he ate the lot. So, you know, but, you know, all credit to Steve. I mean, you know, as I say, a growing lad, you know what I mean? You know, he polished it off over a few potatoes. So, so yeah, I mean, Chris went flying on the Friday, and he went flying Saturday, and obviously we came back yesterday, so he didn't go flying yesterday. So yeah, you know, we've got the 3 watching. Nobody's chatting at the moment. Come and say hello, whoever it is that's watching. Hiya, Rodney. How are you? Yeah, Chris is out. Well, he's gone out to fly the drone. He's just been in the. Oh, you're still here, are you, Carla? He says it's just come in the chat and said they've arrived, and it's windy, but they don't know whether they're going to be able to fly or not, because it is a little windy. So he says he's gonna let me know either way. Yeah, yeah. I'm fine, Rodney. I've recovered from because I've not been very well for about a month. I had cellulitis in my neck, and then I had an allergic reaction to the antibiotics that they gave me. So for about a month now, you know, I've sort of I've been off kilter, if you know what I mean. Hence the reason for going. We've been away for the weekend. So, you know, just to recharge the batteries, and I feel refreshed. I feel a lot better than I have done in about a month. You know, you'll see me on a more regular basis, let's just say. But obviously, same as I've said, you know, we're feeling a bit under the weather and etc. etc. You don't feel like sitting in front of a camera and going live. So I've sort of tried to compensate a little bit with putting the baking vlogs up, but you don't always feel like doing that. You know what I mean? When you know, when you're feeling under the weather. But same as I say, it's amazing. You know, just what a short little break does for you. You know, it's I feel refreshed. You know, like for about a month, I hadn't been going out the arse, and okay then, Rodney, thank you, and I thank you for coming in, and I appreciate it. So yeah. Yeah, same as I say, I try to compensate. We're not going live by doing, you know, obviously the baking vlogs. But I didn't always feel like doing that. You know what I mean? It's, you know, but I've sort of muddled through, if you know what I mean, Carla. I've muddled through it, and I do feel a lot better in myself. And I think the weekend away's done me the world of good. I've got some sea air, you know, you know, yeah, you know, I've done quite a bit of walking, and sort of I know about it now because, but you can't sort of go away for the weekend and not go anywhere. So I went out with them on Friday when Chris went flying the drone. Yeah, albeit I sat on the seafront on a bench. You know what I mean? Callum stayed with me and kept me company, while Keith and Chris went flying the drones. We all went out with them when they went flying the drones on Saturday, because Keith, Steve, and Chris have all got drones, so they went on the beach flying the drones, and me, Callum, Pat, and Lauren all just like sat on a bench in the dunes, if you know what I mean, sort of watching from afar. But it got us out, you know, it got me out in the open, and you know, good old sea air in the lungs and a little bit of sunshine, you know. And I think that's what's done it, you know. Instead of I've been stuck indoors for roughly about a month, and it sends you stir crazy in the end. So it was nice to get out and about, get a bit of fresh air on my face. And mind you, I think I got a bit too much. I got back on Saturday night, Carla, and on my face were red raw, and I've caught the sun on my chest, and you can see where I've caught the sun on me and caught the sun on my arms, and but it's all good, you know, it's all good. So right, I'm just replying to someone's messaged me. So yeah, same as I say. But you see, I you know, I'm one of these, Carla. I've got a sensitive skin, and if it's sunny and there's that bit of a breeze in the air, I catch it a lot more easier than I do, you know, any other time. But I was like a lobster on Saturday night. I caught it on my forehead and I caught it on my face, and tell you, I go like a lobster. I do. You know, it's but we didn't expect it to be as warm as what it was. So you know, I didn't take no. didn't take no sunscreen with us. So, but we didn't expect it to be that hot. So, hiya, Carolyn, how are you? So, just telling everybody, Carolyn, we've been away for the weekend. I feel refreshed. I've recharged my batteries. I feel, well, I won't say 100%, but 99.9% better. I feel a lot better than what that I have been. So yeah, we didn't go far, about just over an hour away. So but it was a seaside town, so been on the seafront, because we were Cleethorpes is one of the places where they still actually have the donkeys on the beach. So we were sort of sat watching them, because there's not many places now. I mean, at one time when I was a kid, nearly every single beach had got the donkeys on the beach, but it's very rarely you see them nowadays. And Cleethorpes Beach is one of the beaches that they've still actually got the donkeys. So, I mean, when Callum were little, I mean, he were frightened of the donkeys. He wouldn't go on the donkeys. Yeah. Same as I say, they're quite popular as well, Carla. You'd think sort of in this modern day and age that they wouldn't be so popular. But me and Callum sat watching them, and nearly every sort of time that they went, the donkeys were full up. So, but the youngsters these days, to them it's a novelty. But when I were a kid, I mean, nearly every single beach in the UK had got donkeys. And I mean, when I were a kid, I mean, the altars that they got on, they were each named. You know what I mean? They'd even got the names on the halters for the donkeys. You know what I mean? But it's heartwarming to know that there's some traditions that are still going. You know what I mean? And donkeys on the beach is one of them, albeit only certain places, because there's that much, how can I put it? With the RSPCA and animal welfare and all this, that, and the other, there's so much controversy about it. I would imagine they've got to have a license. They've got to have welfare checks on the animals. I mean, it's like, I can see it from the RSPCA's point of view. Yeah, they've got to put the welfare of the animals, and that's another reason why a lot of the I mean, at one time when I were a kid, we used to have lots of circuses, and that included animals, but there's not many of them around now. And if there is circuses, they don't have animals in them for that reason. Hiya, Crimson, how are you? That's one of the reasons why there again, the circus is a dying breed, because there's that many strict rules and regulations on the welfare of the animals, inspection wise, and you've got to make sure that they're in an enclosure, plenty of space, blah blah blah. And a lot of the circuses, it's not worth the expense. So it's like a dying breed. You know what I mean? The circuses in the UK. But funnily enough, while we've been in visiting Kiev, there was a circus there. Yeah. Well, same as I say, there's that many rules and regulations as regarding the animal welfare that it's just not worth it. It's all right, we're talking about circuses and animal welfare because in the UK, once upon a time, Crimson, there was donkeys on the beach, on nearly every beach, but not so much nowadays. And while we've been visiting Keith in Cleethorpes, we actually saw donkeys on the beach. So, oh, you're tired, are you? You shouldn't burn the candle at both ends then, Crimson. And you missed a good live stream on Saturday night. Boy. So, yeah, I urge everybody to go and watch that because Pixie did what? Well, Keith Eagle VP did the first one and went for about an hour because he'd not done a live stream in a long time. And the plan was Chris was going to go live afterwards and he was going to go on for an hour. Well, Chris went live about 9:45, I think it were, and it was gone midnight by the time he'd shut it down. And he says, well, so much for only going live for about an hour. Oh, but yeah. Oh, it was cracking night, that worked, Crimson. You know, the legendary Eagle VP and Pixie drunk live stream. Same as we were saying, Crimson. Chris had said to me, he says, I ain't got that drunk. He says, since we came last time, you know, it oh dear. But we've had a good weekend. We've had a good time. But you see, same as we've said, I mean, it's like this, Crimson. There's that many strict rules against like animal welfare and whatever. I don't think it was as epic as the last drunk live stream, but it were near enough. It were getting there, if you know what I mean. It was it were a good laugh. We had a good laugh. I don't think, because Chris said to me, he says, well, which do you think did we, were we as bad as we were last time we were here? When we did that drunk live. I says, I don't think you were quite as, it weren't as good, if you know what I mean. Don't get me wrong, it were good, but I don't think it were as good as the previous one to that. But we got messages the next morning saying, oh, it were a right laugh last night, you know what I mean? And Chris couldn't remember a lot of it, and Keith neither. So they were, it were a good night. And same as Chris says, he says, I'm glad we don't do it every week. He says, because I don't think my liver could cope with it. But I mean, they were on beers to start with, and then they went on to the whiskey. We'll put it this way, Crimson. Between them, we took a litre bottle of whiskey with us, and it's just below half. So they've sort of and they had a couple Friday evening, but sort of not to the extent of Saturday. Chris had a couple, but that were about it. So same as I say, we took a litre bottle of whiskey with us. Oh, and Crimson, you'd you'd have laughed if, well, they didn't go live Friday night because Keith went out to his domino and his bingo. So we were sort of left at his flat alone. And anyway, Keith come back about 9 p.m. and he says to Callum, he says, have you ever tried whiskey? Because Callum were asking what it tasted like. So he made him like a tiniest little bit of whiskey and topped it up with lemonade. He tasted it and he says, oh, this is quite nice. So anyway, then Keith said to him, he says, do you like gin and tonic? And Callum says, no, I don't know. I've never tasted it. So we went in kitchen and I made him a gin and tonic. Come in. He took a sip of it and he was sort of, you know, pulling faces and everything. So I don't think that he was impressed very much with that. So then Keith asked me if I wanted something to drink. So I had a smallest brandy and lemonade. So anyway, I says to Callum, I says, do you want to try this? So he says, well, yeah, you can do. So we had a sip, only just like a sip of it. No, he says, no, he says, I prefer the whiskey. So then Keith disappeared into the kitchen and he'd come back and he'd got the tiniest little, like, just like a capful, really. And he says, try this, Callum. He says, it's proper malt whiskey. He says, it's proper malt whiskey. Hiya, Tony. So, but same as I say, it was like only a capful. He says, only thing is, Callum, he says, with the malt whiskey, he says, you don't water it down with anything. He says, you have to drink it neat. So Callum took a sip out on it. He was coughing and spluttering all over the place. And then he was saying, oh, it's burning my throat. It's and me and Chris and Keith were absolutely rolling about on the floor. His reaction to this malt whiskey, well, it were priceless. So you know, they were sort of, it was trying the different flavors, you know, gin and tonic and whiskey and lemonade, but yeah, that topped it off. He tell you, it was like a little tiny capful. And he says the only problem, Callum, is with malt whiskey, he says you don't water it down with anything. Well, he says his throat were on fire and he were coughing and spluttering. So yeah, you know, I mean, not only is Keith a bad influence on Chris, is now getting to be a bad influence on Callum. I don't like whiskey at all, Tony. You know, I mean, if I were to have a spirit, I'd have brandy and lemonade, but like tiniest amount of brandy and, you know, topped up with lemonade, you know what I mean? So, and thing is, Crimson, I took some Smirnoff Ice for myself. I don't know whether you've heard of Smirnoff Ice, Crimson, but they like Chris calls them Alka Pops. They like a blend of vodka and lemon, whatever. So anyway, I decided that, yeah, well, same as I say, Chris says, well, we took the bottle of whiskey with us. He bought some beers. And he says, well, you can't sort of sit there not drinking anything. So I says, well, I tell you what, you can get me some Smirnoff Ice. So anyway, I opened a Smirnoff Ice and Callum says, oh, what do they taste like? So I gave him a taste of mine and he says, oh, these is nice. And Chris had said to him, he says, well, be careful, Callum. He says, because it's got vodka in it, you know. It's not pop. He says, so don't go, you know, straight back. So I gave him one of mine. So I'd had a Smirnoff Ice and Callum had one. So then there were 2 left. So a bit later on, I had another one, and Callum says, am I allowed another one? I says, well, obviously the drinking age in the UK is 18, but if you're in your own home, you're allowed to drink with your parents' consent. So I says, yeah, go on then, we'll have 2 each. So me and Callum ended up having, 2 Smirnoff Ices. So so yeah. I mean, I occasionally drink lager, but it's not very often I do. But there again, it's not very often I drink, full stop. So so yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think it's 14 that they allowed. I'm not sure, but I think it's 14 that they allowed to drink in the house with the parents' consent. Obviously, it's illegal to go into a pub and buy an alcoholic drink. You have to be over 18. So same as we said, I mean, he's nearly 17. So, we don't mind so long as we're sort of there to control what he drinks. So so yeah. I mean, I'm wondering if I can send the link. Tony, do you know whether you can send the link privately to invite guests in without having to put the link in the chat? Oh, thank you, Colin. It's nice to see you. And you have a great day too. I do appreciate you coming in. So if you're still here, Tony, do you know if there's do you have to put the link in the chat, or do you can you send a private invite? Because it does say invite, but then it says copy the link. So I don't, that's one thing I've not mastered yet, is do you have to put the link in the chat, or can you do it privately? Because as you know, we don't like to put the link in. So okay then. Did you want an invite up, Tony? If so, I'll send it you via email. If you want to put your email in and then delete it, I don't think I have, Tony. I know you've been on the panel quite a few times, but that was before I were using StreamYard. We see, this is the thing, Crimson. I went on Google Hangouts this morning because I thought I'll go via Hangouts if it's still available. But it was like you were uploading a stream, if you know what I mean. It's so that's why I went via Hangout. Why I went through StreamYard, because it's not as straightforward as it was before. So if you want to put your if you want to put your email in, Tony, I'll send you an invite via email, and Hi, Kate. How are you? Thank you for joining us. So, Tony, if you want to put your email in, I'll invite you up onto the panel. Same for Kate. I mean, because I am using the StreamYard now. I'll just do that and not show it. You'll have to excuse me a minute. I didn't get that. I didn't get that, Tony. I've only got part of it. Hang on a minute. Hang on a minute. I've got it. It's letting me view it. You know, I'm not the brightest spark in the box when it comes to these sort of things. So I'm just going to set. Yeah, that's fine, Kate. I mean, if you want to send it me. And I have sent Tony the link. So so if you want to send me your email, Kate, I will invite you up. Yes, yeah. Golden Retro and Movies. It was Silver Retro Collector. Yeah, that's all right. But I have sent you an email, Tony, inviting you up onto the panel or into the stream. But yeah, what I did, even though the message was deleted, it says you can view the deleted message. So that's what I did. I just viewed it and got the rest of the email. So yeah. And as I was saying, Kate, we've had a fantastic weekend away. Pixie and Eagle VP did a drunken live stream on Saturday night. They were both rat-arsed, so to say. So, yeah, go ahead. It all depends if we can help you. If I can help you, I'll happily advise you, Kate. It's all right. I'm just watching across the bottom because you have to wait in like a backstage area till you're added to the stream. So I'm just keeping my eye out for Tony. But I think this lags a little bit, so I'm not quite sure. Just waiting for him to come in. So yeah, go ahead, Kate. I mean, if I can help, I will. You know that. So, hey, we've got him here. Look.
Hello. Sorry about that. I was looking at me.
Hello.
How much I spent on bloody eBay.
I says if I seem a little bit distracted, I'm waiting for Tony. Because Chris sat there the other day, and he didn't realise you'd got to add him to the stream. So there was somebody there waiting backstage. He didn't realise you had to sort of press on the thing to add him. How
are you doing?
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm all the better for going away for the weekend.
Yeah.
So, you know, someone living in a private rental, their home is as clean as a whistle and everything spotless. They put in contract that the house needs to be reviewed every 6 months, which means they come out and check around, make sure nothing's broken, yeah. Well, you see, the thing is, they have to inform you, Kate, that they're coming out to check the property. Number one, they have to inform you that they're coming out to check it.
What's
But as regards that, you know, what she's saying, Tony, says, you know, they've requested to go out and check the property.
Right.
To make sure nothing, you know, nothing's broken, nothing's, you know, they've not got holes in doors, etc.
Yeah.
And it says they did that, and a week later, they're requesting another one, saying they didn't check everywhere. So my thing I'd be saying to them was, well, you requested a checkup. You should have done that right in the first place.
Yeah.
You know, and they can't just turn up on your doorstep without requesting it again, even though, like, you know, let's say the right to you or they ring you and say somebody's going to come out and check on such and such a day. That's on their heads if they didn't check it properly.
Yeah.
So I would be getting like legal advice on that.
Yeah.
Because if they've checked it the week previous to that, then why feel the need that they need to come out the following week to, you know, to check it again?
Yeah. It's a pain, isn't it?
And I'd want to know, why they want to keep coming out and checking it.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Even though it's that private landlord's rental house, you have got rights as a tenant.
Yeah.
To say to them, well, look, you only came out a week ago. It's not my fault that you feel the need to come out again because you didn't check it properly.
Yeah.
It's like from my point of view, Tony, it's like a form of harassment.
It is a form of harassment, yeah. You know that?
You know, keep coming out and insisting that they inspect it when they only came out a week previous to that.
Stupid. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bloody stupid, that.
I mean, if you're a responsible landlord, you do things right the first time. Not sort of make an excuse up to come out a week later saying you didn't inspect it properly.
Yeah, exactly, Gina. I agree with you there.
So I'd be ringing Citizens Advice up, Kate. I mean, I don't sort of know the legalities of it.
Yeah.
But I do know that if they want to come out, you know, and carry out an inspection, which the landlords have the right to do, but they have to inform you that they want to come out and do an inspection. But they can't come a week later and say, well, we didn't do it right, you know, we didn't inspect it properly the first time.
Yeah.
It's sort of, you know, I mean, this is just my opinion. It's a form of harassment.
It's a form of harassment.
Every week to inspect property.
It is a form of harassment.
You know, at the end of the day, the rent's being paid. So, I'd be ringing Citizens Advice up, Kate, if I were you.
Yeah. It is a form of harassment. You're right, Gina.
Yeah, she says they do it all by a form, and I signed it, they signed it, and everything to say it had passed. So what's the problem? You know, what's the problem on their part then? I'd be asking them that. What's the problem on their part? Why they feel the need to come out again?
But they also got a problem. called communication. I think it's.
You know what I mean? You know, it's. I'd be asking, you know, what's going off here? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm just trying to think. See, I was showing somebody else last night in the private chat. You can private chat once you've gone live. You can do a private chat.
Yeah, I know you can.
I didn't know that.
I don't know how to do that either. But I have clicked on it and it comes up as chat privately with your guests.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I've only used it 4 times myself for that panel that I did on Saturday, which Keith said it was quite good. But it went on for 3 hours. But
I'm only saying the same thing about their live stream on Saturday night. Yeah. Keith says, I haven't been live in a while.
Yeah.
He says, I'll just go for an hour. And Chris says, well, if you're only going for an hour, I'll only go for an hour. So we didn't go live till sort of near enough 10 o'clock. And at 12:15, he was still there. So yeah, you know, and then sort of Chris needed a Jimmy Riddle and he went out for a cigarette, left me with laptop. Yeah. And then he says, oh, you could close it down now. And I'm saying, well, I don't know what I did, Tony, but I couldn't close.
You couldn't close it down? I think it's a lot. I mean, you've used Google Hangouts a lot more than me.
Yeah.
And to me, I'm probably making it more complicated than what it was, but this is so straightforward.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got panels when you've got like so many people, because I started off with one person like this, and then the other person, so then there were 3 of us like
yeah, because it's got the box.
And then another one came on, so then I had to make it 4.
So right, I'm just reading that Kate says they pretty much rent most of the properties in this town. Young mum of a 3-year-old and a 2-month-old baby told them she needed to upgrade to a 3-bed. Legit 3 hours past, she went out to shop and boom, for rental sign went up.
Right.
Well, you see, this is another thing as well, Kate. It's like, even though it's private rented, it's like when you hand your notice in or, you know, your intention to move out, you've got to give them like, I don't know, a month's notice before you actually, you know, move out. You've got to give them a month's notice, so they can't actually put the for rent sign up until you've actually moved out.
Yeah.
Because they're going to expect you showing all and sundry round while you're still living there.
Yeah.
But you see, this is the thing, Tony. This is the downfall of private renting, isn't it? Yeah. A lot of the landlords find loopholes.
Yeah.
You know, to abuse the system, if you know what I mean.
Watch for that, don't you?
So I mean, let's say they serve notice on you because they want the possession of the house back. They still got to go through the right channels as regards taking it to court and asking the court for possession.
Yeah.
But everything's got to be done legal, whether they're private landlord or whether they're local authority or what. You know what I mean? They've got to go through the right channels, whether it be a private landlord or whether it be a local authority.
Yeah.
So I'd be saying, get advice from the citizens' advice. I mean, that'd be my advice. You know, I mean, this is the thing, Kate. I mean, since we've been here just over 3.5 years, and they came out when we first moved in, make sure everything were all right, everything, you know, do you need anything, blah, blah, blah. And she told us that occasionally they do inspections, but they have to give you written notice that they're coming out for an inspection.
Yeah.
And let you know a time and a day but they can't just turn up on your doorstep willy-nilly demanding to do an inspection.
Yeah.
So, same as I say, I'm not, fully compass mentee on the rules, but I do know if they've already been out once to inspect it, which they informed, then they can't come out a week later and say, oh, well, we didn't do it right, we need to do it again.
Yeah. It's supposed to give you, like you said, it's supposed to give you a little warning, isn't it? Something. I go once when I was in my own place.
Kate just said, she says that happened at my old place, total nightmare. I gave them my notice, they gave me the key, give me keys back. I went on ahead with this place, and when it came to me covering rent here, it claimed I never told them and that I had to pay rent for both. And I was like, no, you give me the 14th for my keys back. So, well, you see, this is it, Kate. Same as I said before, a lot of the private landlords try to think that they can get through like a loophole. But when all's said and done, if you're a landlord, you've got to follow procedures. So whether it be a private landlord or whether it's a, local authority, they've all got to adhere to the rules.
Yeah.
But, coming with excuse that they didn't do the inspection property, that's on their heads, nobody else's, not the tenants or anybody else.
Exactly.
If you didn't do the inspection properly the first time, that's on your head, not on the tenants. You know what I mean? It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it is. They go over you there.
You know what I mean? At the end of the day, it's like verging on harassment, isn't it, really?
Yeah, it is.
I won't say it's harassment, but demanding a second inspection the week after they'd been the previous week, it's a bit a form of harassment.
Yeah.
So oh dear, Kate. She says a finger slipped. She's giving me a super chat. Well, Chris has already super chatted me £2. He's a skinflint.
You can do that when you've gone monetarisation, can't you?
Yeah. But yeah. So the only advice I'd say, Kate, is citizen advice, and ask. Same as I say, it's all right me saying, they can't do that, but the best place to go would be the citizen's advice, and just say, well, they informed me they were coming out for an inspection, and then a week later they're saying that they need to come out and do another one because they didn't do it right at first place. That's not your problem, that's theirs.
Like I keep saying, I've said this many times on different streams, it's lack of communication by the bloody companies. Even by the Virgin has cock communication and the communication company.
And there again, Kate, same as I say, you're welcome. Same as I say, anybody asks for advice, I'm only too happy to give it if I can, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But I'd be going to citizens' advice about it and saying, well, can they do that? Are they within the rights to do that? They can't come saying that, they didn't do. That's on them to do the inspection right in the first place. Not to come back a week later and say, oh, well, we didn't do the inspection properly.
Yeah.
So, you don't necessarily have to go into the... Same as I was saying, Carolyn, I've not been too well. I've had cellulitis, and then I had an allergic reaction to one of the medications that they gave me. And same as I say, when you're not feeling very well, Tony knows what I'm talking about. when you're not feeling very well, you just don't feel like
doing anything.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, you don't necessarily have to go into the citizens' advice, Kate. You could just ring them up and say, well, look, you know, this and this, you know, they've done an inspection. They informed me, I signed a thing to say they could come and inspect. And yet a week later, they wanted to do another one saying that they didn't do it right in first place.
It's communication again.
Yeah.
Keep saying communication. They don't know. It sounds to me they don't know what the bloody doing.
I mean, it's like, I look at it like this way, Tony. When they come to do an inspection, they go room to room to check everything's all right.
Yeah.
So why can they not do an inspection properly first time? You know, this is a question. How can they not do the inspection right in the first place?
I don't know.
You know, I mean, from my point of view, if they're coming to inspect the property, you know, they start in, let's say, kitchen, and then they move on to living room, and they check it room by room.
Yeah.
How can you not do an inspection right in first place? So why do they feel the need to come out again? That's what I'd be asking. And at the end of the day, I mean, if you're paying the rent, you know, and blah, 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 it's basically an invasion of your privacy.
Yeah.
And keep harassing you to keep wanting to come out and inspect it.
You only need to do it once, ever so often. You don't need to keep doing it. No.
Well, same as I say, I mean, we got told when we moved in here about 3.5 years ago, occasionally we need, you know, we come out and we do inspections.
Yeah.
But they'll write to you or ring you and say, well, we're coming on such and such a date at such and such a time. But they've never been out once, only sort of, you know, just after we moved in.
Yeah.
So
it's always communication.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree.
Different. I mean.
But I mean, from my point of view, it's a form of harassment and wanting to keep coming out, Kate.
It's stupid. Just stupid.
You know, are they looking for an excuse to get you out of there? You know, are they?
They are looking for an excuse, to be honest with you.
You know, do they want to sell the I mean, if that's the case, if they want to sell the property, why not come out and tell you that it wants? You know, everything's got to be black and white, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, you as a tenant have got rights anyway. And citizens' advice will advise you of them rights. I mean, because you've gave them permission to come out in first place to do an inspection, it don't mean to say just because you've gave them permission that first time that you've got to let them in again.
Doesn't make any sense, does it?
So, so how did you find your first?
It's not so bad because I was saying to Nathan, phone them up again because we're going to do another one in a few weeks. And they're just going, oh, because he was on the panel. Oh, let's do another one, Tony. Let's do another one. That went well. But I was saying, I said there were about 15, 16 people in the chat, constant for over an hour and a half because there was, you know what I mean? They weren't going out like they normally do when I do streams. They were staying there watching what we were doing, you know what I mean? Because obviously they can't see the people in the chat, but I could see them, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It weren't as complicated as I thought it'd be because I thought it was streaming. I mean, yeah, I know I've got the thing here because somebody else he's got the deal. It's paying for that. I got the deal. But I found quite happy with that power basting me. I can, you know, as long as it's not going to be charging.
Oh, that's it. That's it.
I'll take it off because I'm going to be paying 20.
I mean, you're not getting any other benefits apart from that being took off if you pay for it.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think a lot of people are actually using StreamYard yet, because I was on another panel last night. I was on 2 panels last night, and the last one, or the one before, said it got kicked out by StreamYard because there were too many people doing StreamYards last night. So it looks like it's going to cost you StreamYard now. You know what I mean? And I said, look at me, I'm not kicked him out.
Oh, that's it.
I'm not the host, so I can't kick him out. You know?
But you see, this is the thing as well, Tony.
Yeah.
As you know, I don't like to put any links in the chat because anybody can join. The good thing about this is, if you don't want to add them to the stream, you leave them waiting in what they call what's called the backstage area, don't you?
Yeah,
I
call it the Golden Room, Jeanette. Metro, so I called it Golden Room.
You know what I mean? Because same as I say, I tried it the other day. I sort of got the hang of it.
Yeah.
And then Chris always says it were a brilliant picture, blah, 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 and all this, that, and the other. I think I might try it.
Yeah.
But then, you know, it put the link in and, you know, it put the link in for somebody to join. And then he says, well, they're not coming up. And I says, there's a box underneath. I says, and until you click on that to add them to the stream, they have to wait in like what they call a backstage area.
I call it the Golden Room.
So, are you CCTV? How are you?
I'm thinking of you like weekend. And he says, I said, yeah, I've got Jeanette. Somebody else was asking me about you. I said, yeah, I've got Jeanette. So she's gonna have to come on the future panel before Christmas.
Yeah.
Stuff from what she knows about, basically. It's like when Chris was talking and Keith was talking about putting me on a first time they do this spotlight thing on Thursday.
Yeah.
And I said, he said, no. Probably because I've been impressed because I've only been on 9 weeks and we'll just take 800 supporters. So I'll get the supporters before I get the watch hours. I'm only on 200 at the moment, but I've only been on 9 weeks. So can't fly before you walk up, I think. You know what I mean?
Hiya, Emma, how are you?
But
Emma's in as well.
I'm gonna have to flash this.
CCTV says, I'm good, Jeanette. You glad to be home? We've had a lovely weekend, but I think Keith's a bad influence on Chris. So when they were only saying Sunday morning, he says, you know, the last time I got that Ratsters were the last time we went to visit Keith. So,
he only lives in Cleveland, don't he?
Pardon?
He only lives in Cleveland.
Yeah.
Not far from me.
It's about an hour and 20 odd minutes from us. Oh, you've got to ring the docs. It's about time they got you sorted, Emma, because it's like me. I mean, it were going on, it were dragging on, and
I've had the same problem, Jeanette, with my bloody doctor. I went to see him a few weeks ago. Thought he put me to see a specialist. He only put me in for a scan, so I have to go back and tell him again.
Well, this is it. I mean, it's like same as I was saying to Emma. If the doctors can fob you off, then they're gonna do. You know what I mean? And it seems that's what's happening with Emma. They're just fobbing her off all the time.
You don't want that.
No.
Don't want that at all.
Yeah, well, that's it, CC. Same as we've said. I mean, I said earlier, he has odd canning ass, but he don't drink to extreme, if you know what I mean. And it were like, I think we've all come back refreshed. It were nice to be away for the weekend. Yeah. It were nice to, like, same as Chris says, recharge your batteries.
Yeah, I need a break, but I don't think I'll be going anywhere this year.
But, I mean, thing is, Tony.
Yeah.
And same as, like, you see, Keith lives in, like, a complex, and the flat.
Is it like bungalows or something?
No, they're like 2-story flats. Keith lives in a second store on the second. Emma, she's not been well for months. I mean, since way before I were ill, and you know the medication that they're giving her isn't working, and she keeps ringing them back up. They're just fobbing her off, you know, just give these, you know, time to work, blah, blah, blah.
Let's see if I forgot it as well.
Yeah, yeah.
I think we keep being on bloody suffering people again.
I agree with that CCTV user. That's the thing, Emma. CCTV user. The doctors weren't listening to him. It was something to do with his spine, and now he's disabled because of his doctors not listening to him.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there again, the advice would be keep on, go to the, it's not called the Patient and Liaison Service anymore. I don't know exactly what it's called now. But I'd be approaching them and saying, well, look, the doctors just aren't listening to me. They're fobbing me off all the time. I'm in excruciating pain. They don't seem to be doing anything about it. And they will like intervene for you.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, you know.
I ain't been fobbed off by any. It's not those doctors. I ain't been fobbed off totally. I'm thinking they're always hiding something to fob you off. You know what I mean? They're always hiding something, you know, you don't know what's going on.
Well, this is it. I mean, it like got to a stage with me, Tony. Yeah, I had the cellulitis. I knew what it was because I'd had it before. I went to my doctor and they says, yeah, it is cellulitis. I'm going to ring the hospital, tell them, but you see, I mean, Emma's just said they want to refer me because now they're saying it's my pelvis and spine.
Right.
And they have said there's no infection. So obviously there's something else going off, Emma. So they want to investigate it more thoroughly.
Get a second. She wants to see a specialist.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, I mean, like, same as I say, I knew mine was cellulitis because I'd got all the symptoms of what I had before. So I knew what it was. I went to the doctor. She rang the hospital and she says, I've got a patient here. She's got cellulitis. So I had to go, well, I didn't go straight to the hospital, but they were expecting me at the hospital. So, and when they like show me to a room, you know, a private room, because it was on the infectious diseases.
Oh, yeah.
I thought, oh, crap, that means,
yeah,
you know, they're going to be keeping me in.
Yeah.
CCTVU says 5 years ago, I started to get arm pains. GP ignored it constantly. Never sent him for tests. Went to bed 2 years ago. Woke up next morning walking as if I was drunk. Finally had to take me serious. Turns out my spine is crushing my spinal cord and now can't be fixed. There you go. You know what I mean? It's a case of keep on and on. But same as I said to Emma, I can't fault our doctors.
Yeah.
You know, she rung the hospital, got me straight down to hospital. I had to go on the infectious diseases ward. But the consultant came out and he says, in all seriousness, you're not ill with it, you know, like vomiting and temperature were fine. I think we've caught it in time.
Yeah.
We'll give you 2 very strong antibiotics.
Yeah.
Now, one of them was fluoxetine, which I've had hundreds of times.
Yeah.
But this other one, I'd never had it before. So I like having to take 5 antibiotics all in one go 4 times a day. So then I sort of wasn't feeling the benefits of it.
Yeah.
And then I found like all my face raw, blotching, my chest, and I was itching like crazy. But the hospital had said, if you have any problems, just give us a ring and come back down.
Yeah.
So I gave them a ring. And they says, well, come back down.
Yeah.
Or another consult. Well, the second time they did a load of blood tests. And basically he said, well, he says, in all honesty, he says, I think it's an allergic reaction to one of the antibiotics. So stop taking, you know, this one that I'd never had before. Stop taking that. but they didn't give me anything for it, so that was that. So anyway, by about the Wednesday, I felt absolutely pants, and I was still itching, my head were itching, and you name it. And I said, I can't stand this any longer. I'm going to give the doctors a ring in the morning.
Yeah.
Well, I rang the doctors on the Thursday, got me in more or less straight away.
Yeah.
And she says, well, stop taking the antibiotics altogether, because the hospital gave me like a few more days extra fluoxetine.
Yeah.
I think the cellulitis is gone now.
What is the cellulitis, Jeanette? I've heard of it, but I've had it myself. It's not very nice.
It's like a blood infection.
Blood infection.
And you can get it from, like, let's say, a scratch or an insect bite and it's like gets under your skin.
Right.
But Chris had it a lot more serious than what I did, because it looked like a kettle had been, a kettle had been poured down. He had it really, really bad, virginal septicemia. And he were the only, when you get it really bad, like what Chris has had it, oral antibiotics will not touch it.
Right.
You've got to have intravenous antibiotics. Now, he was in the hospital a week, and he was having to go back every day for 4 weeks. 1, to have his dressings changed on his leg, and 2, to have these intravenous antibiotics every single day for about a month. Yeah, women can get it after C-sections. CCTV uses, I can't fault the NHS hospitals once they found out what was wrong with me. But you see, DWP, you know what I mean? Unless you're sort of crawling about on your hands and knees.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You have to fight.
Oh, it's stupid. It's like with me, how long I've got mine for. I've got to go back in a few years because I think I've got a miracle cure. But it's life. I've had it for life. So how can I improve in so many years? I'm not going to improve.
That's it.
It's life a minute. You know what I mean? With you. You know what I mean? There was I keep seeing these things in the paper saying this person was paralysed, went for the assessment, and they said you're fit for work. Can't even bloody move.
Yeah, Emma said, don't get me going with the DWP. I'm fuming with them. She has got a disabled son who's under the Mental Health Act, and they have messed mine up. Housing benefits, and
they want ass kicking.
I mean, this is all on top of being ill as well.
Yeah.
Oh, CCTV uses. I've had them in court 7 times in 15 years.
They don't listen, guys. I'm afraid they don't listen to you.
You see, this is what infuriates me about the DWP. You've got genuine people such as yourself, and Emma, and a son, and me. You know what I mean? And then you've got people that are milking the system.
Faking it. I call it
that claim. You see, I can understand them wanting to clamp down on the system because you got that many claiming it that aren't really entitled to it.
Shouldn't be getting it.
It gives the people that are genuine a bad rep, doesn't it?
Well, it's like when you watch. Another thing I don't think helps us, even though I do watch, when that Paralympics have these people with no legs doing sports, because there's other people with bad rep. Because I think everybody can do that. You know what I mean? Yes, it's making multi-sport outlet, but the other thing, it's saying, well, disabled, they can do sports. They're fit for work.
Yeah. So you see, same as I say, I agree that they've had to clamp down because there's that many people that are falsely claiming it. But at the end of the day, for such as us that are genuine and have got a genuine disability, it's only making it harder for us.
Well, the medical, I'll get out in a minute. Medical services you're talking about, CCTV user, they're not even doctors. You'll either get arrested by, you ever get sent down.
I've been to like a tribunal because
went to them as well.
they refused to, when it was disability DLA, they refused to give it me. Yet when the PIPs came in, I applied for the PIPs and got it straight away.
Well, like I said to you,
but they wouldn't give me the DLA, and I went to a tribunal to say, well, how come PIPs has given it me just like that? Yeah, it like, I don't know, about 2 or 3 years down the line, they still refusing to give it me. So I took it to a tribunal, went in, and there's a consultant, there's like a what they call a lay person, which is, you know, just somebody sitting pretty on panel, and then like a legal expert.
Yeah.
So I goes in and I says, well, look, you've messed me about for about 3 years.
Yeah.
And refused to give me DLA. Yet now this PIPs has come into force. I've applied for it and I've got it like that. And once I told them that, Tony, they says, oh, right. Can you go out in the waiting room, please? And I went, yeah, fine. 5 minutes later, they ask you to come back in, and they says, right, you're going to get that DLA backdated because they should have gave it you. And even they sort of sat there and said to me, they should have gave it you. I don't know whether it was 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah, but it's like I've got PIP now, but they've only given me well, it's 4 years to give me for, but I have to go back in 2022. But I won't improve. The only thing what's changed for me is my bloody age. That's it.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean,
well, you see, I've got to the point now where Tony, they don't send me for you know, like they ask you to go for an assessment every so many years. They just write to me and say, well, basically, you don't need to come for an assessment. We've awarded you for another 3 years.
I had the last one a lot longer, but I didn't get the doctor's letter soon enough, because when I went for something else, I got a bit longer because they went off the doctor's letter, right? But I said to the doctor, see, it's going to be coming up. Before you know it, it's here. But I'm not going to improve because now I've got a bloody spinal condition, which I've had it all my life, but I only just found out in 2001 I had it. And the last scan I had, it's gone worse. It's deteriorated. It's now trapping nerves. It's all related to the way I'm walking with my feet and stuff. It's all related. But how can you have something like that and think you were born with hospice, and then they turn around and say, well, you've had, since you got glasses, you've only made a cookie, you don't untag to it anymore. Stupid.
You see, the thing is, when I went to this tribunal, Tony, and they called us back in and says, yeah, you know, we've found in your favour, and you know, the DWP owe you like, I don't know, 2 or 3 years back pay. And I says, see, it's ended up costing you more money in the long run by refusing it, me.
Yeah. Because
I've had to come to this tribunal. You've got to refund me my travelling expenses back.
Yeah, I got the money back.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I got some travel expenses back.
You know what I mean? I says, so by you refusing it, me, I says, it's ended up costing you more money because, 1, you've got to pay me back money. 2, you've had to pay me travelling expenses. And 3, you've had to, you know, pay for the court costs and everything to wear this tribunal in the first place. Hi, Mike. How are you?
A lot of people who go, and not all of them. I mean, I went for the thing I didn't get. I had to reapply again in a few years because I had a stupid bloody doctor on my panel. He didn't have a clue what my conditions were. And the one what she's called legal person, she went off his damn thing, and then she said, oh, we'll go off what he says and what the assessor was only a bloody nurse. She didn't have a clue. I mean,
I'm just going with what Emma says. She says, because my lad turned 16, it's gone from DLA to PIPs, and they have refused me PIPs. Just keep appealing it, Emma. Just keep appealing it.
Yeah, exactly. I agree with what Emma said. They don't bloody listen to you.
No.
They don't bloody listen.
I think half of the time, Tony,
communication again.
I think they think if they mess you about long enough, that they think you'll give up.
you're not going to give up because I mean, what I've got, what everybody else has got, is genuine. It's affecting your bloody life. You don't have a life.
Well, this is it.
Like, how would you have, the day routine? You tell them, you're like, well, is that just a one-off case? No, it's all the bloody time. They haven't got it. So how can somebody who's, I mean, I found it hilarious. I had a last one I got assessed. I think she was like an OT, there's occupation therapist, a physio, a paramedic, and a nurse assess you now. No doctors. No time you see doctors when they panel. You know what I mean? So I'm thinking all them are not they qualified to assess me.
But you see, this is the thing as well, Tony, because I informed them of a change of circumstances and that the disability had got worse.
Yeah.
I had to go for an assessment.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you there, Emma.
Yeah, well, same for me. I've had this, Emma.
Because he's turned 16, it don't make any difference to his disability. It's still the same as they were when they were 15.
I've had my fate problem, Emma, since I was born. So I had it for 48 years. All right, 48 years. And in the 48 years, I have now got a spinal problem. That's one thing I've got new, which I've had since 2001. I've always had it, but it's only recently that I've had a scan about it. I've had another problem which is related to my spine, and now I've got another problem which is related to my spine. So it's probably about 5 or 6 conditions I've had, but I've always had my feet. But when I go again, they'll say, "Oh, you've had some new conditions now." I say, "Oh, I've always had them, but it's only recently I've had scans and seen specialists about it."
Yeah.
You know? But they're looking. I feel like sometimes they're looking at me like I've got 2 heads.
Yeah. Well, you see, the thing is, same as I say, when they sent me a date for my assessment, and you've sort of got to know they'll try anything. And we sat in the waiting room. I mean, bearing in mind, I walk with 2 walking sticks.
Yeah, I have seen.
She came to me and she says, the room that I'm assessing you in is upstairs, but there's a lift.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So I says to her, I refuse to go in the lift. And I says, look at it from my point of view. I says, if I was to go upstairs in that lift and let you assess me in a room upstairs, I says, what happens in the case of a fire? Exactly. I can't get down them stairs. You know what I mean? I can't get down them stairs. I says, so I am basically refusing to get in a lift and going upstairs because if there's a fire, I can't get down.
Well, mate used to go to a college. All right, and it was these colleges where most of the thing he was doing was upstairs, so many flights of steps. All right, when there was a fire alarm or when there was like the fire brigade turned up, everybody gets out, don't they? I can't use the lift. Lift doesn't work. The switch the lift off, but they can't get down. You can't use the stairs. You've got to use the lift. So he's stuck on this floor with everybody else. You can't use the stairs.
But I've found, Tony, that's the first test.
Pathetic.
That is the first test that they put you through. If you happily get in that lift and go up in that lift to that thing, you know, and I says, no. I says, I says, out of principle, I says, let's say there's a fire. I says, on my form, I requested a ground floor assessment.
Assessment place, yeah.
Right. I says, and if you look on my form, I says, if you look on my form, it says any special requests, and I put yes, it's got to be a downstairs assessment room. So that was the first test. So she says, I'll have to go and I'll see if there's any rooms available downstairs. Bearing in mind that we'd been there, let's say, half an hour.
Yeah, waiting.
And all that first floor were absolutely empty.
Yeah, well, sure, it gets my nerves. No communication going on.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that was the first test as regard. So when she says, oh, we're down here, they sort of put me in the room furthest away from the waiting room, right? Yeah. That was the second test. So I went a few steps and I says, you'll have to bear with me. I says, because I'm not very good on my legs. You know what I mean? And by the time I'd got to, by the time I'd got to the room, I were like literally having a panic attack.
Yeah.
Because she'd made me walk so far.
Well, she's assessing you, Jeanette, when you're walking, making sure you're not making it up. That's what they're doing.
You know what I mean? And by the time I got to that room, I must have stopped at least half a dozen times.
I've seen you.
I had to walk that far, Tony, that by the time I got into the room, I were hyperventilating because I were having a panic attack.
I've seen you do that, and you're struggling. You're not making that up.
Then she had the cheek to sit there and say, "Are you all right?" And I went, "Do I look all right?" You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You've made me walk all this way. I can't walk that far. And because you made me walk down here, it's gave me a panic attack.
Yeah, but that's what she's doing. She's making sure you're not whatever you said in the form is what she sees when she assesses you. I know what they're doing.
You know what I mean? And it's you've got to be. They can be crafty, but you've got to. You get some of them, if you know what I mean. Yeah.
It's disgusting.
You know, you've sort of got to recognise their antics as what they're up to. Same as I say, the first test were get in, lift and go upstairs.
Yeah.
And I refused. And then the second one were putting me in furthest room away.
Because if you're going for the PIP, they're assessing you how far you can walk. Because I think on the form it says something about aids and stuff. So that's your aids what you're using, right? But there's a lot. I mean, even my mate's comfort. There's a lot where he was saying he's just got it back again. He said, but a lot when you used to see everybody going through it basically. He said there's a lot. When that last time I went, he said they were even genuine people. They're bloody fakers, but I bet they're bloody good.
Well, you see, the reason why I did, because I get ESA, which is Employment Support Allowance.
Yeah.
And basically, that's the assessment I didn't have to go to because I always fill the forms out straight away and send them back off. And what they do is they send the form to your doctors. And basically, the doctor rang me up and says, I'm going to write this down on form. I'm going to write that down on form, blah, blah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And because they were pretty good at sending the forms back to, the DWP. That's why I didn't have to go for an assessment.
The problem we've had is they phased out the DLA and replaced it with PIP. Same bloody benefit, but they've combined the CUR and the mobility part into one benefit and called it PIP. And then the other one, which used to be called incapacity benefit, they've got rid of that and now they've called it the other one, ESA. So they've just changed it. And then because they've changed the names of it, they've also changed the criteria. So what you could get when you're incapacity, criteria, you don't always meet the criteria for the new benefit. Because the same building, they've just changed the bloody name and revamped it.
Yeah. Hi, Lucy.
Different benefit, you have to be reassessed again.
But you see, that is incapacity. I was on incapacity and I've been on it for the last
but they should
19, 20 years.
When they've got a form of each person who's been on it as long as you've been on it, and your things have gone worse, and they've looked at the history of it, so you go, well, I just need to have confirmation that hasn't changed off some kind of specialist or something. And that should be it. You shouldn't have to keep degrading yourself to go through these bloody assessments.
That's it. I'm
stick woman. I'm coming again. Oh, it's her again. Oh, it's degrading. I mean, but like you said, there's that many people. This is the problem. There's that many bloody fakers out there who are milking the system and shouldn't be getting it because everybody's got on the bloody bang one. If they've got rid of all them, then they'll be saying, oh yes, now we've got all the general. But they can't class us all with the fakers because if you've got general. You've got the general bloody conditions.
Yeah, but you see, that's why they've made it so difficult for you to claim these benefits because they've had to clamp down because there's that many claiming stuff that are entitled to it. Yeah, exactly. It paints us that are genuine in a bad light.
It's disgusting, Jeanette. I just think it's just the way it's unfair. It's an unfair system for assessing the genuine people who. Either we're born with it or they've had a car accident or so like they come back from the war and they have to claim benefits, they've had their legs blown off and things like that. Yeah. But it's like It was I don't watch it because it depresses me to watch them. I mean, I've had depression as well because of my health. But I'm thinking, why are you showing that on the TV? What was it? Claiming, I think someone in Scotland somewhere, and they're gone. They had to be assessed basically, and they were saying we should get it but they're a bit obese, so they get it because they're obese. And I thought, well, besides, if they got rid of that, if they got rid of that, everything else was normal. It's just that weight problem. That's it. It's a mental problem. But I thought it's self-inflicted. I mean, I'm a bit obese, but I thought that isn't a general disabled thing in my and that's not a general disabled condition in my opinion. You know what I mean?
Lucy says I had to go to court with my friend as they cancelled her disability, but luckily she got it back. But we went 3 times as court messaged you about. But you see, this is the thing, Lucy. This is what we're talking about. You know, it ends up costing them more money.
Gets me
in the long run.
It's disgusting. I know I do if I was in charge of DWP. You know what I mean? The whole lot, would be absolutely sorted.
It says, Emma, fire up benefits and work website. Take the free PIPS test on behalf of your son. Yeah. Answer the test honestly. See what points it gives you. You know what I mean? It's the same as Emma's just, pointed out. They don't live with a son. Exactly. It might look fine in their eyes, but they don't have to cope with having a meltdown or you know what I mean.
You know, this test, the last 2 assessors I had, the one before, because I still had the other one. Well, I'm still getting the other one. It was the assessor for last year, but she just felt somebody put that thick. She took her life from start to finish. I went to appeal about that. They backed her, and she lied. She bloody lied. It's all lies. All the things, what she said. And then we went for another assessment. And the assessment
it's ridiculous.
Because I went to different place.
Such as us that have got something that's a genuine disability. Yeah. You have to jump through hoops to get what you're entitled to.
Stupid.
You know what I mean? It's ridiculous.
She shouldn't actually. She's that bad. She's been out. I mean, she's been. I don't know how long she's doing that. She's been at these donkeys, but she won't last on the walk because she's absolutely massive, basically. She waggles when she walks. But she was saying she's seen, I thought that's a pack of lies she's never seen in her life. I've seen worse club feet. She's never seen worse club feet in her life. She didn't even know what bloody club feet was. She's telling me I've seen worse ones.
Lucy says it don't pay to be honest. But you see, this is the thing. I mean, like such as myself, that's got a genuine disability, you don't have to lie. You know what I mean? I mean, I was just saying, Lucy, I went for an assessment because I need a knee replacement. Yeah. You know what I mean? Plus other things had sort of, my situation had deteriorated. So I reapplied for PIPS, and you have to go through the process all over again just to make sure. First test where they wanted me to get in a lift up to first floor. And I says, well, what happens in the case of a fire and I can't get downstairs?
They'll leave you to burn,
so I refused.
So that's not very nice.
And then she made sure that the room that she were assessing me in downstairs was the furthest one away from the waiting room where we were waiting.
They're doing it. I mean, it's disgusting what they're doing. They do it on bloody purpose.
So by the time I'd actually got to the room, I hyperventilating or having a panic attack. And then she got the cheek to sit there and say, "Are you all right?"
Stupid. I always say,
do I look it?
It should be somebody who's essentially he's disabled in one way, so they understand more. But no, you're getting able-bodied people who've never had any disabilities in their life, and they're going off the paperwork. They don't even see you. They're not allowed to be a person. They go off the paperwork, what you put, and they're going off what whoever's written about you. You're professional, so they're going off all that, and they've never seen you from one year to the next. And then they go, "Oh, it's so many years since this assessed person." That's getting me.
You see as well, Tony.
Pathetic.
When this ESA, they write to your doctor.
Yeah, gets
the doctor sees you more often than anybody else.
You know.
So I can't fault my doctors in that respect, because she actually rang me and said, well, we've had this form come from the DWP about your ESA.
Yeah.
And she went through it with me.
Yeah.
So basically, it were like over the phone consultation with my own GP to make sure that she were pouring everything necessary. And she says, as soon as she put phone down, she was going to get it sent off. So then, sort of in the meantime, I'd had a date to go for this assessment. And then I got a phone call. They actually rang me up and said, well, we've received the paperwork from your doctor. You've no need to come for an assessment. We're satisfied that you meet the criteria and that you're unable to work. And, that's it. They awarded you for another 3 years.
Yeah. But it's like anything else. I mean, it's like me. I've got mine for a few years, but I'm not going to improve. I'm actually going to deteriorate. Right? But especially in my spine now, the way it is, it's deteriorated already. And I'm already under one consultant. He's going to put me into another one. But I'll probably be seeing another. I'll probably be seeing 3 eventually. I've already seen one. But it's all related. It's all bloody related to each other.
Yeah, CCTV says take walking if it causes pain. But you see, this is the thing. Every step I take causes me pain because, in actual fact,
I am, Pixie. Come off it.
If it causes you pain, every step you take, then,
If I was chatting to my wife, you would know about it, mate. I'm telling you.
We're talking about the DWP and PIPs and DLA. And,
they're not watching this bloody stream. They're going
we're having a right little debate about it.
Just imagine, Jeanette, I see DWP watches. All right, well, both of them back in. They're slagging us off on this bloody YouTube channel. I mean.
But, at the end of the day, same as I've always said, Tony, I've worked all my life up until, the year 2000. I've worked full time with kids, having kids. And the first time anybody wants to claim anything back from them, they make it so difficult for you to claim it.
It's just good. Honestly, it's not getting. It used to be. I don't know. The need to clamp down on, like you said, on the people who shouldn't be having it and give more to the people who should be getting it. But it's like if they have to judging everybody off the forms, and they have to, they're getting all these forms in, and they're judging everybody off the forms what they're letting, and because they have that many forms, it's like, I don't know about that person, don't know about that person. We need for anything else. But they don't say, it's like I sent some specialist letters in. They don't contact the specialist because they haven't got time to contact the specialist. The most they contact is the bloody doctor. And the doctor can only tell you so much about the conditions people have. You know what I mean? He's not specialised in a certain area. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, I said to my docs recently, I said, I'm going to have to get moving in a few years. I said, it's got to be. He said, well, why? It's never going to change. It's going to get worse. I said, yeah. So I've got this up on what you want to send in for scans and stuff. But I said, I'm not going to have a makeup bloody cure anytime soon. So only about one off send you to see if you've improved. It's life. This
is it. I mean, I look at it as well this way, Tony. We're getting to that stage of his life. I mean, I'm 57 next.
You don't look 57.
Things is only going to go downhill from here, if you know what I mean. I've got these problems now, so let's say by the time I'm 60, you know what I mean?
It's Tony, sugar daddy. I classic Chris that. I found that funny.
I know. But, yeah, you know what I mean. It's
how old I am.
The older you get, things is bound to deteriorate.
Yeah.
You know what I mean. My arthritis in my leg, in my knees, is not going to get any better.
Well, no.
I mean, my left leg. If my left leg's anything to go by, I mean, I actually needed a knee replacement.
Well, we know.
Because we're all these excuses. Yeah. Your weight, your age, blah blah blah. They wouldn't even give me the painkilling injection in it. Stupid. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I've got to put up with a knee that needs a knee replacement and just carry on with it and get on with it.
Stupid. Well, they don't, like I said, you know, these assessors they're not disabled, they're able-bodied people, and they haven't got a clue unless you tell them how much pain you're under, what your bad and good days on this bloody business. They ask all these stupid questions. They only have like a little snapshot what you put on the form, and this is where you have to see them, because they've got to look at you and going, well, do they think what they've said on the form to me? But man, they hit. Let's just strip off. They're hidden disabilities. They're not on shore. You know what I mean?
But you see,
I won't be getting shoes made by the bloody hospital if mine fit me bloody normal.
But you see, the thing is, Emma, you've got to be as crafty and knowledgeable as what they are. I mean, because they're not going to tell you about all these things, because, you know, when all's said and done, I mean, they don't want you to claim that money. You know what I mean? If they can get away with not paying you, they will do. And they're crafty like that.
They are crafty.
Yeah.
They've been playing this back at the bloody thing going, you look on YouTube, and you went to it, and this is where we called you in because you were slagging us off. Not as bad as what you're making out, yeah. Well, you're watching. I mean, it's 7 now.
I mean, unless you know the system, they're not gonna tell you what you're entitled to, or what you can claim, or you know, you can get the highest rate of mobility, blah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're not going to tell you because they know that if you get the higher rate on both, they've got to pay you more money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's same as I've often said to Chris. You imagine that there's thousands of people in the UK sitting at home with a disability that qualifies them for PIPs or ESA or whatever.
Yeah.
But, you know, they don't, you know what I mean? They don't know how to go about it. They're not going to come and say, oh, well, you can get this, or you do this, or you do that. They're not going to advise you on how to claim it. And this is why I says to Emma, you know, you've got to keep appealing it. You've got to keep appealing it.
Yeah.
It's all right. I've just had a notification. It says Tesco to cut around 4,500 staff in 153 stores across the country. So you know, there's another. It's the economy. They're trying to save. You know, cut every corner, save. You know.
It is the whole thing wants a shake up. I mean,
yeah.
It's the only thing is, I always get. I mean, I've had to experience depression myself, but I always get stressed out every time I have to go for these bloody assessments, because I'm thinking, I've had these all my life, so I'm not going to improve.
Hi, Keith. How are you? I hope you've recovered. Same as Emma's just said, Mum's 62, and they've awarded a universal credit, and Job Centre is on her back every week saying, get out there and get a job. And she's looked after his dad for 20 years.
Yeah.
So, you know, to me, it does get my goat up about, you know.
I get stressed up about
it. And it seems like every turn you're getting penalised for something or other, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. I don't understand how they can sleep at night, especially when they take it off you, because they know for a fact you're going to appeal against it.
But you see that there again, Tony, if you keep appealing and keep appealing, all the time you're having to appeal, and the longer you wait it, it's going to cost them more money because they've got to pay you the back pay if you're successful in your, you know, if you're successful in your appeal, it's as I always say, it's putting off the inevitable.
But to me, they just don't. It's like years ago, it used to be assessed by was anyway. I think it's all changed. You probably was as well. It used to be assessed by a doctor, right? But it costs too much money for them to assess you by a doctor. So what they do, they sort of say out to that. Well, that company's gone now. They've got a new company coming. But it's the same bloody staff. It's just a different company name. They've still got the same staff assessing you, but it's just a new company, right? So it's still some of the orca buggers assess you. Haven't got a clue what. Then say, we'll get them off the money because it's less money to pay. We'll give it to somebody else. But somebody else could be the person who shouldn't be getting it.
That's it.
It's the person who shouldn't be getting it, and they take it off the people who should be getting it. I don't understand about how they work.
Crimson's back in again. He says he's woke up again. He must have nodded off.
Right. Yeah, some people still don't.
Same as I say, you're welcome, Emma. Don't let them give you any BS. You know. And at the end of the day, if you appeal it and you win it, they've got to pay you up back pay. You know what I mean? And I agree with what CCTV user. If you appeal, you do actually have to go to they call it a tribunal, but it is actually a court. Yeah. But it is an informal. It's same as I say, when I appealed this DLA, there were like 3 people, and I think one were like something to do with court, one were a consultant, and other one were a independent something or other. But yeah, you know, I mean, if they can, you know, if you know, and I still say that. You know, if you keep appealing it, and then this, you know, just keep appealing it, because I think they they're in end that you'll give it up as a bad job. But you know, it's a case of you and I know what you're entitled to. It's just them admitting that you're entitled to it. You know, when all said and done, it's them admitting that you're entitled to it.
Yeah, but even when they give it you, they forget how hard it is to get bloody back, and they'll say it's like, "Oh, we've had some further information which has helped you a bit. It's supported your case basically. We've now decided to give you, but then they give you an end date. Like, don't forget you're being reassessed again. Well, why are you giving me reassessed? Because you've already said more.
But you know what makes me laugh, Tony? The first question they ask you is, have you got here today?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I always say, well, I've got a taxi to drop me off right at door.
Yeah, I had a taxi as well.
You know what I mean? Because
got the taxi fare back.
If you were to, let's say, go on bus or on a tram or where, that is you being able to use public transport.
I actually, the first time ever, I paid for the taxi, and I got the money back off them because it was falling up instead of off the thing, so it was authorised transport. So I got my money back. I thought that was the first time ever that's happened. I thought, yeah, what's happened? All right.
The first thing I do, Tony, if I go by taxi, first thing I do is I ask them for a form. I want a form to claim my travelling expenses. It might take a couple of weeks, but you don't care so long as you're getting it back.
Well, don't forget, it's extra money you're paying out.
Why should you be out of pocket?
But it's extra money, Jeanette, at the end of the day, what you're paying out just to have these bloody assessments.
That's it.
And taking up your time. Well, you have to. If you don't come, we'll stop your money. So nobody's choice but to go, won't you?
Yeah.
They'll say, if you don't turn up, we'll stop the money. We don't need to see you. We can stop your money any time. Where they word the letter. And you're like, well, obviously you have to go because your bloody condition hasn't been bloody improved. But I still think, why isn't there any doctors assessing you? Why is it all these lay people? I still call this as lay people because they're not lay qualified for my conditions. Bloody assessment.
That's it. And then you've got to sit there explaining your condition to them.
They're waiting for it. They're still assessing you. Bloody waiting for them. They know you're there.
But
I just get last assessment. I was that bloody stressed out. I was like bloody. Well, I think I got myself bloody worked up. I thought this is pathetic. This is. You know what I mean?
You see that with me, Tony.
So
because he made me walk the furthest room away from the waiting room. By the time I'd got there, I was having a full-blown panic attack.
I don't think I would have that.
So,
I think they do it on bloody purpose.
So that's it. But yeah, same as I say, keep appealing it, Emma. Take on board what CCTV users said to you. He does know what he's talking about. But yeah, you know, it makes me so angry.
It makes me angry.
Yeah, that they make people with genuine disabilities jump through hoops to claim what's rightfully theirs.
Yeah, but like my doctor says, with your spine problem now, your spine is related to your feet. You linked it in actually. Your spine's related to your feet. I had my knees done when I was younger. Again, that's related to my feet. I've now got a stomach problem, which is related to my spine. And I've also got a chest problem, which I've had for a few years. But now he's saying that's this bleeding thing, because I keep getting infection, like lung infection, things like that. The specialist I saw before I've had these tests said he thinks the spine's causing the things to clutch me, what you call it, lungs and stuff. So that's why I have these tests, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's what I went last week. I said, when did you send your out letter? He said, April. So I only saw him in April. He said, well, that's what he said. He said, but he wanted these tests. I said, well, yeah, I don't. Oh, like, well, you might say something else when you see him. And he said, I said, no, I've not come for that. I've come for my spine, because my spine's been giving me that much chip over the last year and a half. Sometimes I can't even sleep with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm not come for my chest. Then he's like, well, I think I put you in for. I said, well, why don't you put me in for Attic, your chest person as well? Because you need to see both. You know what I mean? Because this went in when I was about 12, because he went to work. But this other specialist saying it's, well, I'm getting all this in because it's not doing like it should be doing. So I thought, well, I've got some more bloody conditions, but I'm just coming apart. As I'm getting older, things are happening.
Yeah.
I said to the other specialist, I said, I won't be a $6 million man. I said, I need to be rebuilt.
I tend to agree with CCTV user, even though Emma's lad was on DLA. It's like starting afresh, because it's a it's same benefit, but it's replacing the DLA.
Yeah, it just changed the bloody name.
You know what I mean? But it's like starting afresh. So you've got to put everything in that form, you know. Because Chris had to laugh, because when on part of the form, you have to put all the medications that you take.
Oh, go on, fella.
So Chris says, do you want an extra piece of paper? You've got that many to write down. You know what I mean? Because you're going to need a bigger piece of paper.
Well, have you seen, Jeanette, on the form, have you seen the forms? When you fill the forms in, you get a small bloody box, and you can't fit everything in. They're on purpose. Please list. And it's a small box. I don't line outside the bloody box. There weren't enough space for me. I had to send some extra paperwork. I thought, this is pathetic. I mean, it's like when you list your disabilities. No, again, I'm just go on for bloody fit. That's probably why I got assessed, because I go, no, you haven't got all these. Some of these age hasn't got all these.
Chris says every time if I just my prescription, it was the wheelbarrow.
Yeah.
They were saying to keep them. He says if they prescribe her any more medication, he says I'll need one of these dumper truck things with thing up front.
Yeah.
You know,
she's but
you see, I mean, I'm going on what CCTV says. Agreed, Jeanette, something ain't right here. But it's like they denied me DLA, but by the time they heard the appeal, the PIPs had come into force, and somebody had said to me, I'd still go ahead with your appeal, but fill the forms in for the PIPs. So I filled the forms in for the PIPs and I got it awarded before I actually went to the court for this DLA appeal. So I'd got it there in black and white, and I even shown them the documentation and the letter I'd got saying, well, look, I filled all the forms in for the PIPs and they've awarded me such and such and such and such, and I've got the proof.
Yeah.
You know, and it's, you know, how else would the medical people know what you're claiming if they don't have a complete? Well, that's it. But you see, I mean, no disrespect, Emma, but you don't know that the lady that filled the forms in, whether she filled it incorrectly. I mean, you know what I mean? That's sort of just my, you know, look on it. You don't know what the lady wrote down or what she, you know what I mean? Unless you filled it in yourself, you can't sort of describe his daily living on a day-to-day basis. You know what I mean? I mean, the best thing that Emma could do is actually fill the form in herself. Then she knows what's being written. So, well, let it, you know, letting somebody else do it.
Yeah.
But if there's a mistake made, it's that lady's fault, not yours. Well, you see, this is the thing, Emma. If she's filled the forms in, and if she's never asked any questions, that's probably why it's been denied, because you basically have to outline your lad's condition, how it affects him on a daily basis, how it affects his daily functions. You know what I mean? How else can they assess you if they don't know what your lad goes through on a daily basis?
Oh, don't forget,
you know, is you know, his ADHD and his autism and whatever. They don't, you know, unless, you know.
Oh, it's like he's 16.
Yeah.
He's less of his life. He's got his rest of his life to go through all this bloody hassle.
But what I'm saying is, Tony, she said that this woman that filled the forms in didn't ask her any questions. So
Well,
how else are they going to know what that lad goes through on a daily basis as regards his anxiety, his ADHD, his autism? They're not there on a daily basis to see the struggles that he has to go through.
That's stupid, not asking any questions. That is bloody stupid. I think they go on the course and they get told what to do when they go on. I mean, I've seen it on TV. I've seen it on bloody Paramount when the reporters go under the cover, and they're calling people out us behind their bloody backs. And they're laughing.
I know I'm interrupting there, Tony, but she says I had all that with Capita when we had the assessment, but I filled the PIPS form out, and the lady that assessed me went through the questionnaire that I'd filled in. Did you understand what I'm saying? She actually went through the forms that I'd filled in, like, let's say having a bath. How do you go on a daily basis? Can you bath yourself? No. Who helps you? My husband, you know what I mean? Things like that. And they go through it with you, question by question, on how it affects your daily living or your daily life. You know, even, you know, I filled the form out, but they have actually got the form in front of them. But they ask you, oh, you put here that, you know, your knee pops out of joint. How does that affect you on a daily basis? Things like that.
Yeah.
But if the woman that filled the form in didn't ask you any questions, how are the people that are assessing you able to You know, if you haven't filled, if the lady didn't ask any questions in the first place.
She should ask you questions. That's the point. Because how's she going to know what is their day-to-day basis is if she don't ask any questions?
The start of the process is actually filling in the PIPS form. Now, when you go for the assessment, they go into it with more depth and ask you how it affects you. You know, like I wrote down, let's say I have sleep apnea.
Yeah.
And I have to use a CPAP machine. How does that affect your daily life? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Stupid. But in order for them to ask you them questions and how it affects you,
ask questions.
You've got to have filled a PIP format.
Yeah.
And if the lady that came out didn't ask you any questions, how were they supposed to know at the assessment, you know, how it affects your daily life or your lad's daily life or, you know?
Well, it's like I said before, Jeanette, on the day in question, whatever date it is, they're getting a snapshot of your life on a day-to-day basis. And they're judging you off your form, they're judging off the supporting evidence you submitted as well. It's not just, you know what I mean? And also judging off any evidence to support your application, right? But then they go say, well, it's a pen pusher, but they got a decision maker. It's a bloody pen pusher. Go off a pen pusher. But again, he's not seeing you. The only person who's seeing you is the bloody assessor, right? So he or she's going off what the assessor said and what everything else is said. And then turns and said, they're fit for work or you're not entitled to it. And then you can appeal if you want. But we won't change our bloody decision. This is before you even go to appeal. We won't change our decision. Yeah, we have to go for the emotions, but we won't change because I mean, how do you know that before you get?
Yeah. But same as I say, the start of the process, Emma, is filling out that PIPS form. Then you send that off to them, and they send you to the relevant assessment. And you see, I've never been assessed by Capita. I forget who it were that assessed me. You know what I mean? But when you are assessed, they've got that PIPS form in front of them, and you know you've said in this form that you suffer with sleep apnea. Does it affect your daily living, or in what way does it affect you? You know what I mean?
You know, it's
I mean, no disrespect, Emma, but I think the blame lies at the lady that filled the form in for you.
I think that, well, it's also off the people who assessed her thing as well, because they didn't ask any questions.
Yeah.
So my argument to that is, well, how can you bloody say I'm not getting it or something when you didn't even ask many questions?
Yeah. I think what Emma ought to do is she should have got the form and filled it in, or rung the DWP. They send you that form out. You fill that form in. You write all the the list of medications that it takes, the disabilities that it's got, ADHD, autism, blah blah blah. You know what I mean? But when you go for that assessment, all they're there to do is ask you how it affects his daily. They basically are looking at the form that you filled in, but asking how it affects his daily living. So, but yeah, we've had a little bit of a rant this morning, haven't we?
This morning, it's nearly 3 o'clock.
I've been going on 2.5 hours. I've never done one this long for a long time.
I can speak for England, Jeanette.
Me too, when I get started, Tony.
People watch it. How do you know one of them were the DW person going like them two are going back to be assessed? Back down the names. On the net. I mean, they could be there on the bloody computer, bloody DW. Right, I've seen her before. Well, you never know the bloody coin, isn't there? Next bit, that's the reports. What do you mean? Oh, they didn't do anything. So
yeah, but I mean, it's not, you know.
But it's disgusting, Jeanette. I must admit, I do agree. I agree with everything you said because it is just. I've had this experience myself, but it's so stressful. It's so. I mean,
I can't understand. I mean, I'm like CCTV user. I can't understand. That claim starts with that form that you fill in. That is the very first thing you do. You fill the PIP form in. Now, if you've got somebody to do it for you, Emma, A, she's not filled it in correctly. And at least if you fill the form in yourself, you can list the yeah, I tend to agree there, CCTV user. Yeah, same as I say, whether it lies in the hands of the lady that came out supposedly to fill the forms in, obviously she hasn't filled them, you know what I mean? They don't live with your son. They don't know, you know, the medications he takes, the struggle that he has on a daily basis, you know, etc. But it sounds like it's been like same as CCTV user says, a hatchet job from beginning to end. So yeah, I mean, same as CCTV user said, Emma, go on that site, fill it out, see how many points you would get awarded, and just tell the DWP, I've been on this website, I've filled, you know, I've answered all the questions that it asked, and it says we're entitled to so many points. Because you see, with the care package, if you 10 points or more, you get the highest rate, and it's same with the mobility. If you get more than 10 points, you get the enhanced rate of mobility. You know what I mean? So I would say, Emma, give them a shotgun up backside. They shouldn't be messing you about like this. You know, your lad is one of the genuine ones, and it's not right that they're messing you about like this.
I was going to ask you, Jeanette, what type of topics would you, if I got you on the panel one time, what type of topics would you actually talk about? Because I mean, I'm not just do gaming, I do all sorts of things now. I'm just diversifying.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's
so I could go, who did I get on at weekend? He's doing both them. They haven't never been on the panel. Trevor had, but
you see, I'm not technologically savvy. So you know, when you start talking about technical things, I mean, I'm not you know, I'm not all that technologically minded, you know what I mean? But apart from that, you know, I mean, when like Keith and Gail talk about cameras and, you know, and lenses and things like that.
You could talk about you do a lot of food stuff, don't you, on your channel?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't just talk about baking stuff, you know what I mean?
But I was thinking that, and I thought, well, everybody likes food. But it's like if else, like the people, why did after the stream and uploaded the thing, I thought, well, it's up to them to check them out. So I've given the links to each channel and uploaded it. Because someone in the team said, and I thought, he's nothing there. I think it was God of Blex. He's into Lego and stuff. And he says, is Trevor, because he doesn't know his name. But anyway, he says, is that chap South African? And I said, no, he's not South African. I said, he's from Australia. Because he's got Australian accent. And then he got his more microphone up close. He go, good day, and all that. And he's like, oh, sorry about that. I didn't mean to offend him. I said, no, you haven't offended him. It's not.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. See, he says, don't tell the DWP the name of that website. All you've got to do, Emma, is say you've took it like an online thing, and according to the questions that you've answered, you know, they are saying that you know, I'd get like 12 points or something like that. You know what I mean? But you sort of don't reveal your sources to them, if you know what I mean. Yeah. Yeah. Okay then, Emma. Thank you. And I just hope you get some sort of justice, and I hope you get compensated for the way that they've messed you about.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it's not right.
No, it's not right.
No, something's gone awry somewhere. You know what I mean? Something's gone awry somewhere. It shouldn't be happening. But it's like this, Tony. The DWP just sit back in the chair and, you know, they let these things happen.
Yeah.
Well, what I'm going to do, guys, I'm going to shut it down because I've been on like nearly 2.75 hours. So I weren't meaning to go on this long. So, but we did
put the will to life.
Yeah. A debate about it. So, and hopefully I'll see you all again on Wednesday. So I want to thank Tony for coming on the panel and for everybody coming in the chat. So,
awesome.
You know,
awesome.
Yeah. So I'll see everyone on Wednesday. Bye.